Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Indiana
Indiana
Common Sense.
and Nonsense.
We're going to have some fun today, like we do all the time. We're just talking about politics, and we are trying to educate our community more about it and have some fun while we do it as well.
Today, we're not even going to talk politics. We're going to ask the one simplest question to everybody that I think should be asked by everybody. And I'm going to start it off with asking the one basic question: what is a citizen?
Isn't a citizen just somebody who lives within your nation?
Well, I first thing I popped up, and I'm gonna let the common sense man read this out to
All right.
everybody.
Citizen, according to Google, is that Google?
No,
Yeah, Oxford. According to Oxford Languages, a person who belongs to a particular country, state, or commonwealth by birth or naturalization and has legally recognized rights and duties as a member of that entity.
I want you to take that definition into heart as we talk about this today. Okay, we're unique as a tongue type citizenry in the United States. We fought to be citizens of this country. We fought a major back then. Britain was a major powerhouse in Europe to become citizens. We expanded across this great country of ours to encase this country to become the United States of America. People need to understand just how serious it is to be a citizen of the state of Indiana, of Grant County, and to the United States of America. People like me, I want you to take a look at this hat. I want to move it up close. It says USS Butte, AE 27. That's the ship I served on. And for 5 years, I served this country on this floating. By the way, an AE is an explosive ordnance ship. That means I carried bombs, 16-inch powder, 16-inch rounds for battleships, and missiles for the USS Saratoga battle group. Okay? In paper thin walls and hull. If I got hit by a 50 caliber machine gun on the hulls on the side of my ship, you know what would happen to me? Take Hiroshima in the middle of the ocean and blow it up. That's exactly what would happen if my ship would have blew up. So yeah, they took us very seriously when we went across the Atlantic, we got out the Mediterranean, we had protection around us 24/7, 7 days a week. There was a lot of ports we never got to go to because nobody wanted a Hiroshima bomb parked in their port that someone could just drive by with a 50 caliber machine gun and blow up. So we never got to see many ports. We spent a lot of time either out in the ocean or a very secure port. So you have to understand these points. People like me take citizenship very seriously. We vote, we speak up when we see something that isn't right, we speak out and talk about it. But look at Indiana. In the last, what, since 2010,
I can look up the stats.
while he's looking up the stats, I'm going to bet you it's less than 20% of the citizens of this state voted. I think the last big number that voted was Obama's election. I think it was like 25 to 30% of the state voted then.
The
But
numbers are vote for voter turnout in Indiana, according to Ballotpedia.com. Let's see. There is. How come they only have up to 2022? No, 2024 voter turnout rates in Indiana were the most. They were 58%.
okay,
2022 was 37. Then 2020 was 61. Then 2018 was 46.
okay, so half of us are voting. What would happen if we all voted? Think about that for a moment. That makes a big difference. You're letting half of us make a decision on what the other half gets. Okay? Citizen means that it's not a freebie, it's not a given. We are citizens. We are born given to that. If we are born in the continental United States and our territories, by the way, by the way, against what Donald Trump might say, Puerto Rico is a territory in the United States. Guam is a territory in the United States, just for
Oh,
the record.
I didn't know about Guam.
Yeah, Guam is actually a territory in the United States, folks. Keep that in mind. And by the way, if you're born at if you're born in one of our foreign bases, like in Germany, and you're born on that base, guess what, folks? You're a United States citizen. Any place that we are a sovereign, where we have sovereignty
The
at,
Supreme Court just voted on it
yeah,
too.
they made it clear. If you're born in
On
the United
American
States soil
soil,
or any sovereign place, you are a United States citizen. If
it
you're
got
on
upheld.
if you were on board USS Butte and you were 9 months pregnant, and we rescued you, and you had your baby on USS Butte, guess what, folks?
You're a United States
You are a
citizen.
United States citizen. Even though we might have to take you back to Spain, or we have to take you back to Italy, you're a dual status citizen. You're an Italian citizen and a United States
The
citizen.
baby is, not mom.
Yeah, the baby
Baby.
is.
You if you were born. Just saying.
Yeah. So, as citizens, we need to start looking at ourselves and ask the question, why are we not being good citizens? I looked at this today after the incident that happened at the 4th of July parade in Gas City, where we had people that obviously were MAGA cohorts. They actually had Donald Trump stand up spewing MAGA's crap at our Democratic float threw ice balloons at us. These are water filled balloons that they froze, made them rock hard. Now I can understand using squirt guns at us and throwing regular water balloons at us. That's usually a tradition now. I found out at these parades, but throw hardened ice at us, no, that's not something that I can condone. I can handle people talking. As a citizen, we have to understand that we're going to have difference of opinion. Okay, it's our First Amendment right to have difference of opinion. It's a
And talk about it.
good citizens understand that the First Amendment is something that a citizen must be able to look at somebody and let them shout at the top of their lungs something that you cannot stand and is vile to the core to you, but give that person the right to say it. What I can't stand is somebody throwing something at me and violent saying that vile stuff at the same time. I can't stand someone going into a crowded room and saying fire when there's no fire. Those are not free speech, folks. Okay? I don't like it when white supremacists walk around our
Nation's
his
capital.
or any capital or even
Mm-hmm.
around Grant County.
Yeah. They've been in
I don't
Indiana.
like it, but if they've got the proper permits to do it,
The cops will stand on their side.
we don't have to like it, but it's free speech. Like it or not, it is their right to say it and spew it. Whether we like it or not, it is free speech. And
Until it incites violence, and that's why the KKK should be a registered terrorist organization, but I still don't think they are. I think the Proud Boys just got designated in these last 2 years or whatnot. But so many of these organizations that advocate for free speech are advocating for the freedom to use their speech to oppress others. And so we have to uphold the right to free speech, but we also should properly define hate speech because you do not have the right to tell somebody to assault somebody else or to deny somebody else their freedom, or to encourage somebody to break the law.
Agree. As a citizen, I was always taught that sometimes silence is better than saying
Oh,
it.
you can always shut up. That's always an
Okay,
option.
if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But if you want to speak your opinion, always come to three conclusions. I'm going to agree to disagree with you. That's always a fact. I am not going to get along with it. I don't always get along with this bozo over here.
Mhm.
I will openly admit it. We will have our indifferences, but we both agree on the second point. He knows which one I give on that second point. The second point is we have both sit down and agree to talk about it. We use facts. We don't use public opinion. Him and I are really good at looking up the facts on each other. Okay. And we agreed to come to an agreement that we both can understand. That is the basis of our whole country, our whole form of government. We keep in mind, we are a democratic republic. Keep that in mind. Okay. We should understand that point. We as citizens have a responsibility for one thing and one thing only. The people we elect, we as citizens, I want you to remember that.
Rights and duties.
These are rights and duties as citizens to keep our elected officials in check. That's why we have elections for representatives every 2 years, state and federal level. Why we have senators every 6 years at the federal level and state senators at 4 years level. And that's why we have mayoral races every 4 years and county council positions and city councils every 4 years, is so that if we don't like what they're doing, we can remove them. But the problem is that, as the Republican Party spent the last 50 years doing, is changing the outlook and sending a different narrative. As citizens, we have to understand that people are going to manipulate us. We have to be, as citizens, to look at not what we're being told, but the actions of the people who are doing the job, and look them in the face and say, "You're not doing the job we're asking you to do. You're not benefiting us. Stop listening to the chatter and look at what they are doing. If they're not doing their job, it's our job as citizens." And I'm keep referring to this. I'm going to show you this one thing. Let me see it.
Um, yep, we can see it.
Okay, citizen is a 24/7 job. It's something we don't get to sit on our butts and relax on. We do this 24/7. We need to walk in, make the people who are our elected officials, our democratic republic demands that we question our leadership. Michael J. Fox made it clear in, what was it, Mr. President? Okay. He made it clear that it's our duty as citizens to always question our elected leadership. No elected leadership ever, ever is without scrutiny of the elected citizenry of this country. They are not without having us question what they are doing. And it's our job to make them listen to us. That is why they are only elected officials. That's why a president can only serve 8 years. That's why they have to be elected every 4 years. I personally, as a citizen, hate when we don't get a presidential candidate come in and demand us to vote for them. They guarantee that Indiana is one of them. Oh, we go in, vote, what, 3, 4 hours later, it's already called. No, We should be a swing state. We should be a state that they need to come here and convince us that they should be president. They should want us, that we should be wanting them to come see us and explain why they should be our leader.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they're not. They're bought off by that stupid Citizens United rule. I say we as citizens need to go look at our state senators or state representatives and Governor Braun. God, I hate saying that name. And
Mm.
look at all three of them and say, look, you have control of corporations. Make it so corporations cannot donate to campaigns. You got the power to change the corporate laws to make that happen. If Hawaii can do it, so can Indiana. Make it so, or we will start electing people who will do that.
I've got a question. When Trump was trying to pressure us to cave to his gerrymandering here, whether it was earlier this year or last year, I don't remember.
It's earlier this year.
Earlier
It's
this
back
year,
back towards the end of last year, early this year.
some of those elected officials voted to gerrymander, voted to break the Constitution, break the law, to disenfranchise. And I have a question. Wouldn't it be a great place to start right there?
Well, it did.
How many are out?
McVeigh took a different job, and we have McKinley, who was selected to replace him. He lost his bid, run for state senator, and somebody else is running against Cynthia Ware. Greer is trying to run again against Katie Robbins. Okay, and we are hitting Madison County and Grant County hard to get her run out
Absolutely.
of her office because she doesn't represent. She was one. They, I mean Zane
Hmm.
and Greer went to Washington and talked with Donald Trump about redistricting. By the way, for the record, you guys.
I didn't know that.
Yes, both of them went to Washington to talk with Trump about redistricting our state.
Hmm.
And they said that we were going to we're going to push the redistrict. They went and kissed the orange. They went and kissed the orange pope's finger. I mean, his ring. Said the ring. I'm gonna. Say, they kissed the orange man's ring. You notice I'm putting the ring up so people can see the ring. And said we're going to redistrict, but you know what? The senators of the state of Indiana, the ones that have some common sense, actually put their common sense hat on, not
Hmm.
their nonsense hat on. Congratulations to those senators, by the way.
Few and far between, but when they do, we should celebrate.
Well, yeah, by a big margin. So, you know what happened? Mr. Jim Banks pulled out his political action committees, sent them up to, what was it, seven?
Hmm.
Seven of the state senators who said, no, we're not going to redistrict. Sent them up, flooded them up, and put Trump backed senator candidates, and they all won but one.
Hmm.
One was contested, one lost, and the rest of them won. Folks, this is an example of what Republicans do. Okay? You don't follow the orange pope. Guess what? You get political action committees running you out of office. I'm not saying these guys are good. They're not. They want to control the state by making a supermajority so they don't have no way to compromise with the other side. This is why we need to get rid of the supermajority. Even if it's 51-49 or half and half. If it's half and half, now people have to talk across the table with each other. They have to negotiate. They have to work with the other side. That's the whole point of what the Democratic Party wants to do. They want to balance the scales so it's equal. We don't have to win the majority, but we should be at least 51-49 or 50-50 or even 51-49. balance the scales. Because once you balance the scales, then that means we get compromises, we get more say at the table, we get a chance to fix the problems and make the Republicans not have a supermajority and make Mike Braun accountable for what he does, make Beckwith more accountable for what he does, and the rest of the senior Republican leadership. And then we have more say in what we do, which is why we have to support Mr. Bai and win his Secretary of State position, because then we have better control of how our ballots are set up every year. This is part of being a good citizen. You need to tell people to go register to vote. We should have 80% plus every year in the primary and at the primary and the general election every year. 60% is pitiful. We should be 80%. And I've talked to a lot of people. When I did the census in 2010, the people I talked with felt like their vote didn't count it.
Most
They
people don't.
they don't.
I've heard a lot of arguments for not to vote. I don't agree with them because I think that if you don't do politics, politics is going to do you regardless. So I understand the protest that it could be, but understand that in that protest, if there are people being oppressed and you choose silence, then you have only helped the oppressor.
You know, this last primary, Grant County only voted 20%. Keep that in mind. 20% of this county voted in the primary. And the bulk of that was Democrat, just for the record. You can
Yay.
go look that up. Go look at the vote. Go look
That's
at the total
easy.
people voted, and you'll find out of that 20%, the majority of it was Democrat. What are we going to do when the general election comes up in November? I want to see who truly wants to change Grant County, because the only way we can change Grant County is think about this for a minute. The Grant County Council, Marion City Council, the senior members of Marion um, Control, the major offices in Grant County and Marion, and all the county council seats in Grant County are all controlled by Republicans. There's no Democrat on any of these spots. Think about that for a minute. How long has that been going on? Most of the last 20 years. Been very few Democrats. Okay? What does that make that? That means you're saying that you think the Republicans are doing a good job. Take a look at our county and look at our city of Marion. Okay? Then I want you to go take a look at Gas City for a moment. I want you to take a serious look at Gas City. And I use this as a good example. The most progressive mayor in this state and the most progressive mayor in this county was Gene Lynn, the mayor of Gas City. 50 years, 5 decades. The longest serving mayor in the state. He worked as a Democrat, but he had Republicans on his city council. Think about that. A couple times he almost didn't make being mayor, but he won, and he won steadily. Why? Because he understood one thing. He needed everybody to work with him, whether it was Republican or Democrat. He understood that if everybody worked together and trusted his decisions and worked together to make things better and took the chances needed to set the infrastructure together to make Gas City better, it would grow. And look at Gas City now.
Mm-hmm.
As a citizen, I'm saying now, as Grant County citizens,
Mm-hmm.
we need to stand up and take charge of our county. 20% turnout is sad. If we're going to change Grant County like Gas City is looking, We need to take Marion into the next step in the future. We need to put people in that want to change. I'm sorry, Mayor, you done a reasonably good job. You've brought a few decent restaurants in, if you want to call what you put in. You brought Wawa. Wah. Okay.
I've heard a few criticisms that he hasn't done low income housing. That he brought in hundreds of millions, but it's for the riverfront or everything else. And
He's brought in a lot.
a lot of low income people are worried actually
Well,
about the economy that he's bringing in.
he's brought in high end housing downtown and at that riverfront location.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's brought in Zagby's restaurant. He's brought in two coffee spots. Okay. He's brought in what else he's brought in? Like I said, he's
Hmm.
brought in several restaurants.
Yeah, he's brought in some on the bypass is different. He's done a lot. I'm speaking specifically about the millions that he's brought in from outside of
He's
Marion.
fixed some sidewalks. He's
Because
improved some
the
sidewalks.
the streets project is by far notable. Like that is amazing. The streets
He-
and the blight. He tore down before he started on the streets. He was tearing down those abandoned houses that the landlords don't take care of anymore. That couldn't be improved. That had basically. So my dad's in real estate, and I know you know a lot of a little something, or a lot of
yeah.
something. And my dad told me every time you see rent to own on these properties that aren't up to code, those are all scams
Yep.
because the landlord wants to get you to fix it up and he wants you to not be able to make your rent. And every time you don't make your rent, it's an opportunity to renegotiate the contract. And if you miss rent long enough, then all the investment you've done into the property, your home, to make it livable for you, then goes into the landlord's pocket.
Yep.
And you get
That's fact.
evicted out on the street, and the landlord gets everything that you paid for his property.
And then he'll run another scam to the next
Yeah,
person.
he'll put the sign right back up, rent to own. The next person will rent it, improve it a little, and then get kicked out when they miss rent. Or they'll improve it a lot. You know, it doesn't really have to be bad. They could improve it a lot. But if it's a 5 year rent to own and on year four they lose their job, they're probably not going to own it.
Nope. It's there's a lot of things I see that needs to be done, but the mayor never really truly tackled it, and the city council sometimes never really helped him neither. This is why I said we need a more balanced city council to help.
And that comes from our local elections and voting.
This is why we need to be good citizens, get off our butts. You don't have to agree with everything, you don't have to agree with a damn thing. But being a
Mm-hmm.
citizen of this country, being a citizen of this county is important. You don't have to like it, but you need to get up and say, hey, I do count for something. And this is what I saw a lot when I did the census. Nobody thinks that they matter. You do matter. Okay. One thing I say to everybody who comes and walks up to me and shakes their hand, I say thank you back out of respect. I know they're trying to feel like they're thanking me for their service. I look back at them and said, you really know how you can thank me? Go register to vote and vote at
Mm-hmm.
your primary and your general elections. That's how you can thank me every single time because that's the best, unless I know they're, um,
Mm-hmm.
some people,
Anti-democracy.
no, mentally handicapped.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But if they're like you, walk up to me,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for your service, I'll say thank you. But if you really want to thank me, go register to vote and vote. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent.
Make your voice heard,
Make
because
that's
that's how
exactly.
democracy works.
Thank you. And like I said, I'll sit and debate with anyone who's willing to sit down and talk logically with me, bring facts to the table, and agree on my three basic rules. One, we agree to disagree. We agree to talk facts, and we agreed to come up with a solution we both can agree to. By the way, that's how Congress is supposed to work, by the way, for the record, at both the
Hmm.
Senate and the House level. That's the way it should work at the state house level. That's how it should work at our city councils.
Now we say should work, but everybody. I love the show Parks and Rec, and everybody has some type of political drama or satire or entertainment. In today's American mass media, part of our lexicon in Hollywood and everything else is at some point some show with some level of accurate or not political corruption. It's hard to write fiction for what's currently going on. However, there is a lot of fiction out there, and local government is more important than federal government for our day to day lives. Federal government and the president of the United States has the power of the people. He's the power of influence. He can veto things and he can write executive orders, but we were created as a nation that didn't have a king. We have the balance of power and they have been holding strong. He is a everything, tyrant, fascist, felon, all those things. Put all the labels on. That's all fine and good. He wants to do a lot that he cannot because our Constitution still stands. And it still stands for the duties that we have to vote. It stands for our freedom of speech, but also for a duty of speech to make our requests known and to check in on our politicians. Once you vote, thank you, and then check how your politicians are representing you. Encourage youngsters who are interested in government to run for offices and to get involved, to volunteer for things, to learn.
We should be teaching our kids to be good citizens. We should be teaching them to monitor what our politicians are doing. We should be teaching them that our politicians don't answer to corporate America. Our politicians answer to all of us. Take a good example. There was an animated movie, I think it's called Ants.
Yeah, I know ants. Yeah.
Yeah, where the ants were being bullied by the grasshoppers.
Uh-huh, but they
The boss grasshopper was sitting with all of his grasshopper buddies and talking about what happened, that the ant was talking back, and he was starting to pull out peas and bopping the grasshoppers on the head. Okay, and he reminded them that if one ant starts complaining, what happens when all the ants start complaining? They are in numbers larger than we are. We cannot stop them if they decide to speak up all together. Citizens, folks, let me remind you of this one little point that everyone seems to forget. Citizens make up the power of our federal government and our state and our county governments. Remember this point. The citizens control everything, not the money, but the power. We as citizens control everything, but we only control it if we stand up and take the control. We take that control via the ballot box. That's why Donald Trump is so scared right now, because he knows the citizens are getting tired of his BS. He's so scared that he's going to lose power, and the citizens are going to take back the power. And when they do, they're going to start seeing what he has been doing behind the scenes. Tyranny hates light. They thrive in darkness. Keep that in mind. Just like Mike Braun's scared that the Democratic wave in the state is going to take away a big chunk of his Senate his majority in the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Well, they just voted to make homelessness legal, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody should keep their seats that voted for that. Like, I need to that should be our episode next week. Our episode next week should have a picture and a precinct and polling stations for everybody who, so that we can let you know about your representatives and how they voted to make homelessness, essentially freedom, illegal.
We're going to pull up what Greer and Zane, and currently, what's his face, McKinley, has been voting for the upcoming election. So Katie can whip on it. Also, Cynthia Weir's about ready to talk with a mother, a stay-at-home mom who has 7 children. This is a woman who, by all accounts, this is what Donald Trump wants. This is what Mike Braun wants. Okay, a stay-at-home mother who has 6 kids and 1 on the way. Okay, and she's struggling. She can't. She barely qualifies for SNAP, and they don't pay her enough to help on the SNAP end. She's getting Medicare, but she's not getting complete Medicare on all the kids. Okay. 2 of them have federal disability. She's about ready to lose one on one of the kids because the federal government changes have now made one of them supposedly not disability anymore because supposedly she's okay now when we know she's not. This is this type of bureaucracy that families like this have to go through when it's unnecessary. These are the type of changes Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill has put families through. This shouldn't be. If this is the party of families and children, they should be doing everything as possible to support families, especially if a mother of 7 working from home, a married mother of 7 staying at home while her husband's working. We should be supporting her, helping her, making sure she's got food on the table for her children, medical care for her children. She's not getting it. Why? Because that's the Republicans who are in charge. They're the one cutting the benefits. See my point? Not the Democrats. They don't have no say in the matter. This has all been a supermajority Republican control. This is people like Mike Braun. And we'll get into the Becklifts, Christian nationalist, Shiite law rules that he's trying to imply to everybody in future episodes.
I feel like Sharia law is a dog whistle.
It is.
Not that, dog whistles are always rooted in some kind of truth because they had to start from somewhere. But I feel like the uneducated and uninformed don't know. So I feel like next episode that'll be something else.
That's going to be a future. That's going to be a future episode.
That's just one of those, talking points that
We're going to put
people think they know.
we're going to put Christian nationalism and Shiite law together and compare them to see how close they are to reality. We're going to shock the H out of you folks.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe that some of the politicians are calling for women not to have a right to vote.
Yeah.
And for the heads of the house to only vote, only husbands, and some women are backing it. But I do know that nobody was there at the 250th celebration in the Capitol.
Oh yeah, that was that I saw that. That was just so pitiful.
And the protesters that were there had to hide in the African American History Museum. I saw that too. Yes, it did.
Yeah, it was so pitiful. You would think that the one celebration Trump would try to get right would be the 250th anniversary of our country. Nope. Bomb City.
Well, I think the problem is that he's been going down. Like for his birthday or whatever, he had that military parade, which was really bad PR.
That was the worst thing he could ever.
But he at least pulled it off. He couldn't even pull off anything. Did you see the music? Because there was a lot of white artists doing black music at the 250th.
What was even worse is he almost killed some kids because his stage almost fell apart on him.
I did not hear about the stage defect.
In fact, it was on the news.
Oh, goodness.
News.
That sounds like something fun to read to help. We got about 10 more minutes, but we'll call this the closing.
Okay,
But
keep in
10 minutes,
mind.
we're not in a
But
rush.
let's talk about his parade for a moment. Go pull it up and go take a look. Watch how the soldiers marched at that military parade that he had for a moment.
Trump military parade
Okay, they didn't march.
march videos.
They didn't march. They walked. That was their way of protesting Donald Trump's little soiree show of military force.
Oh look, they are walking.
They're walking. They're not marching. They're walking. Why? Because even our military realized that this was a joke. When our own military doesn't march, they walk. That should tell you something, folks. Also, I want to take into account of one other thing. I want to clear the air on this too before we depart. And I'm going to say this as a veteran, and I want people to understand this point. The Air Force major that stood up on the Capitol steps and protested, okay, he 20-year Air Force major was overseas, came back to the United States, put up his sign, and made his speech on the Capitol steps. Okay, why he did it, he had a legit reason to make the protest. Why he did it in uniform, he did it to make a statement. By law, by Uniform Code of Military Justice, he did that was wrong. And he will be punished for that. He could, in fact, lose his pension. He could lose his freedom. I want you to take his speech seriously, very seriously, because he believed that Donald Trump, what he's doing is wrong, and he's willing to put a 20-year record of good military service on the line to come out in his uniform and say everything he said and mean that.
I think something else is important too. His public sacrifice should also give notice to the hundreds of private sacrifices because our military has been going down since before the war. Yes, we still have the money behind it. So, yes, we still have the bombs and planes and carriers. But when I started seeing memes, when the military started eating good before the deployment to Iran, when the military gets crab legs and steak and good stuff, everybody knows that means you're not going to be home for a while. And as soon as they
Oh,
got
I got
that
that
good
when I was
meal,
overseas too. I mean,
they
I
soon
got
as
fed that good.
yeah,
Trust
because
me.
you're already overseas. When you're home and you get a really good meal, I saw the memes, I have the friends, and I know that means you're about to not be home for a while. They want to make you feel good one last time, or maybe a couple last times before you go. And but when they got that good meal and the memes started, the Marines started to turn in their notices of this is unconstitutional and I refuse to follow these orders. I don't. He knows what's it called when you refuse to follow orders because they're unconstitutional. There's a special military word for it.
It's unlawful orders.
Yeah, and by the hundreds, Marines started turning in paperwork and submitting paperwork.
That's what caused um the the rift between Captain Mark Kelly, Senator Mark Kelly, and Secretary Hagsett is because hey Dave,
Did he
those
ask him
people
to bomb the boat that he
no
said was the drug boat that really
no
wasn't?
no. What happened was him and several other ex-military members
Mm-hmm.
all got on and made a commercial to remind military members that they do not have to follow unlawful orders. And that's what brought the controversy
Yeah,
on.
I
And
remember.
Hegseth went after Senator Kelly because he was the senior most and most noted person of among them that So he went after Kelly because of that. Okay. It and he's losing it. The Hegseth's losing in court because he can't go after Kelly for something that is perfectly legal for him to say and do.
DEI hires will always be unqualified, which has never been the case for minorities because they've always had to prove their qualifications. The DEI hires, like Hegseth, like Trump's friends, like, Kavanaugh, like that.
Trump is the perfect example of bad DEI hires. Let's face it. Let's talk about DEI hires as it is. Trump has got the worst DEI hires God has ever put on this earth.
Unqualified is the key. They got elected because they sucked up to. They got appointed, not elected. They got appointed because they sucked up to him, and they got in their positions because he knows whatever he says to be done is what they will be doing. Kash Patel.
They kissed the ring, baby. They kissed the ring.
Cash did what? Wasn't there a guy before Kash Patel that used to be a podcaster? It was a bald white guy, right?
Bajon.
Yeah. It was a bald white guy, and he got appointed and whatnot. But something happened there. Now, and then it was Kash Patel, and neither one has FBI experience. Neither one has.
Hey, you hired WWE owner to run education department, the Department of Education. What in the heck does a woman who ran the WWE for Christ, Linda McMahon? What in the fright does Linda McMahon know about education?
She knows how to put on a show, and
That's about all she knows
and
how
that's
to
the
do.
problem. Is that we're hiring people who know how to put on shows. And when they don't have the budgets and credentials and actual facts to back up the things that they put on the shows for, ordinary citizens, what's that word again? Citizens have the rights and responsibilities. We have to see this stuff, and instead of just letting it slide, we have to fact check. We have to go online to get past the misinformation and call it out to recognize that these are DEI hires and that actual DEI is necessary.
Hey, folks, let me give you a hint of something. Fox News,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Fox, CBN, which
Yep.
is Christian Broadcasting News for the record, One Max, I think it's One Max, isn't it?
I know, like
Newsmax.
Newsmax. There you go.
And OAN are not news places. They are opinion.
Entertainment. Mm-hmm.
Okay? They don't bring news, they bring their opinions. Keep that in mind.
They give you the headline and they spun it any way they want.
Thank you. Keep that in mind. Also, let me give you a hint of something else too, just for common sense.
Okay.
Ask this question. Always ask this question. I made a prediction. I'm going to stand by it. We're getting ready to change the House here in a little bit and have a Democrat run the House. I made a prediction earlier in the year that the House is going to change to a Democratic House rep. The speaker's going to be Democrat. And then old orange puffy boy is going to, or he's going to get kicked out. One of the two. Okay? What's going to happen when that happens? J.D. Vance is going to be president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now
we'll see
what happens to the vice president after that. Who's the next vice president? Do you know your civics lesson, folks? Let me give you an education. I'm going to do a Katie for you. The Speaker of the House becomes the new vice president. Let that rattle in your brain for the next 30 seconds. And then the next Speaker of the House is another Democrat. Now, just think when the House gets taken over and we actually get good control of the Senate, and J.D. Vance gets impeached. Let that roll through your head for a moment as we part here in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kapla!
Now,